The day the aliens came changed everything. They arrived in ships that looked like glass mountains floating through space. At first, everyone on Earth was afraid, then excited, then afraid again. The aliens called themselves the Galactic Council. They had 32 different species working together. Some looked like tall bugs, others like walking plants. A few almost looked human, but with strange colored skin and extra fingers. Earth's leaders met with the Council representatives at a big meeting in Geneva. The aliens spoke perfect English through small silver devices on their necks. They said Earth could join their group someday, but first humans needed to learn their rules and prove they could behave. Jack Harrison didn't like being treated like a child. As the commander of Earth's first real space fleet, just 7 ships that barely left Earth's orbit, he thought humans deserved more respect. During a tour of the main alien ship, he asked too many questions about their weapons. The tall blue alien named Ilara Vox got nervous and asked him to stop. "We're just curious," Jack said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Humans are always curious." "Your curiosity is concerning," Ilara replied. "Your species moves too quickly. You don't think about consequences." For 2 years, the Council sent teachers to Earth. They helped with some medical problems and showed better ways to grow food. But they wouldn't share their best technology, especially not their faster-than-light travel or energy shields. They said humans weren't ready. Then came the dinner that ruined everything. Jack Harrison and 5 other military leaders were invited to eat with Ilara Vox and Council security officials. The aliens served strange food that changed color as you ate it. The drinks bubbled and sparkled without any gas. During the meal, Jack excused himself to use the bathroom. But he didn't go to the bathroom. Instead, he snuck into a room he wasn't supposed to enter. Inside, he found plans for the energy barrier the Council had built around distant solar systems. Systems where dangerous species lived. Species the Council wanted to contain. Jack took pictures with his phone. He almost made it back to dinner without getting caught. Almost. The Council was furious. Within a day, all alien ships left Earth's orbit. They moved to the edge of the solar system, just past Pluto. For 3 weeks, Earth heard nothing. People worried. Would there be an attack? Would the aliens just leave? The answer came on a Tuesday morning. Every screen on Earth, phones, computers, televisions, turned on by itself. The face of the Council High Chancellor appeared. He was a thin creature with gold skin and 4 eyes. "People of Earth," he said, "you have been judged and found wanting. Your species is too aggressive, too unpredictable to join galactic society. Commander Harrison's actions prove you cannot be trusted. Rather than destroy your world, we choose mercy. You will be exiled." The next day, a shimmer appeared at the edge of the solar system. Scientists called it the barrier. Nothing could pass through it. Not ships, not signals, not even light. Earth was trapped inside its own solar system. Samantha Powell watched from the window of the space station as the barrier completed itself. As the new director of Earth's space program, she felt the weight of what just happened. "They think they've stopped us," she said to no one in particular. "They think this is our prison." She turned to the room of scientists and engineers behind her. All of them looked scared. But she wasn't scared. She was angry. "This isn't our prison," she said, her voice getting stronger. "It's our challenge. Let's get to work." The exile had begun, but so had humanity's greatest period of growth. The aliens would learn, someday, that putting all of humanity in a corner was a very, very big mistake. 50 years passed after the barrier went up. Earth changed in ways no one expected. Countries that once fought each other now worked together. There was no choice. Either work together or stay trapped forever. Samantha Powell did not get to see most of this change. She died 30 years after the exile began. But before she died, she started the United Earth Space Initiative. This group had one goal: break through the barrier. William Carter was just a boy when the aliens left. He grew up looking at the night sky, knowing there was more out there that he couldn't reach. As a man, he became the best scientist at the Space Initiative. He spent his days studying the barrier. "It's not solid," he told his team one day. "It's made of energy that bends space, like a river that pushes everything away." No one had gotten close to the barrier in years. The first ships that tried were destroyed. But William had an idea. He built small probes that could send back data before they were crushed. "Look at these readings," he said, pointing to his screen. "The barrier doesn't stop things. It pushes them. If we could push back with the same kind of energy." It took another 20 years. William's hair turned gray. New scientists joined his team. Together, they built the first ship that could touch the barrier without breaking. It still couldn't go through, but it was progress. Then came the big discovery. Laura Chen, one of William's students, noticed something strange in the data. "The barrier is thinner in some places," she said. "Not in our space, but in the space between spaces." William didn't understand at first. Then Laura showed him her math. The barrier existed in normal space, but there were other layers of space, dimensions that existed alongside our own. The aliens hadn't put barriers there. "We don't need to break through the barrier," Laura said with a smile. "We need to go around it." They called it fold travel. The idea was simple. Fold space like paper, then step through the fold to get to the other side. Making it work was not simple at all. By the time Earth reached the 100-year mark of exile, the first test ship was ready. It wasn't big, just large enough for 2 people and some equipment. They named it the Pathfinder. Olivia Martinez was chosen to be its captain. She had been the best pilot in the space program for years. Her co-pilot was Eric Foster, an engineer who helped build the fold drive. "If this works," Olivia said as they prepared for launch, "we'll be the first humans to leave the solar system in a century." Eric nodded. "And if it doesn't work?" Olivia just smiled. "Then someone else will try again. We keep trying until we succeed. That's what humans do." The launch day arrived. 1,000 people watched from the space station. Millions more watched from screens on Earth. The Pathfinder was small and silver, shaped like an arrow. "Pathfinder, you are clear for fold initiation," said the voice from Mission Control. Olivia took a deep breath. Activating fold drive in 3, 2, 1. The space in front of the small ship seemed to ripple, like heat rising from hot pavement. Then it opened, showing darkness with tiny points of light. Not stars, something else. The ship moved forward and vanished into the fold. For 10 minutes, there was silence. No one on the space station spoke. Then the communication system crackled. "Mission Control, this is Pathfinder." Olivia's voice sounded different somehow. Older, even though only minutes had passed. "We're through. We're beyond the barrier." Cheers erupted across Earth. Humans had found their way back to the stars. The silent evolution was complete. Now came the hard part, facing the galaxy that had rejected them. Olivia Martinez floated in the pilot's seat of the Pathfinder, staring at the stars. Real stars, not the ones seen from inside the solar system. These were new stars. Free stars. She had been out here for 3 days now, moving carefully and staying hidden. "We should head back soon," Eric said from the seat beside her. "We've proven the fold drive works." "Just a little longer," Olivia replied. "We need to gather more data. No one has seen this part of space in 100 years. The Pathfinder had special shields that made it hard to see on scanners. Earth scientists had developed them to hide from the barrier's energy. Now they worked to hide from any alien ships that might be passing by. Olivia checked her map. They were about 5 light years from the edge of the solar system. Not far in galactic terms, but far enough to feel the freedom of it. Then the alarm beeped. Something was coming. 2 ships, Eric said, looking at the screen. One big, one small. The big one is chasing the small one. Olivia turned off all non-essential systems to stay hidden. The Pathfinder went dark except for life support and sensors. Through the window, she saw them. The small ship was round and golden, moving fast but damaged. Black smoke trailed behind it. The larger ship was gray and sharp, like a knife cutting through space. It fired red beams at the small ship. "We should leave," Eric whispered. "This isn't our fight." Olivia watched as another shot hit the small ship. She saw pieces break off. She heard the screams coming through the open communication channels. "Help us, please. We are peaceful traders. We have children aboard." The big ship sent its own message. "Surrender, Thraxi garbage. Your ship and cargo now belong to the Midorian Empire." Olivia's hands tightened on the controls. Their mission was to observe only. Don't interfere. Don't reveal that humans had broken through the barrier. Another hit to the small ship. More screams. "Eric," she said quietly. "Power up weapons." "Olivia, we can't. I'm not going to sit here and watch children die." Her voice was steel. "Power up weapons." Eric hesitated, then nodded. He pressed buttons, and the ship hummed to life. The Pathfinder moved from its hiding spot. It was small compared to the attacking ship, but it carried something special. Earth's scientists had studied the barrier for decades. They learned how energy could pass through anything. Their weapons used that knowledge. Olivia targeted the big ship's engines and fired. Blue light shot from the Pathfinder. The beam passed through the attacker's shields like they weren't even there. The engine exploded. The big ship spun around, trying to find who had attacked them. They fired blindly. Olivia easily moved the Pathfinder out of the way, then fired again. This time, she hit their weapons. Another explosion. "Unknown vessel," came an angry voice through the communication system. "You attacked the Midorian Empire. You will be destroyed." Olivia opened her own channel. "Leave the Thraxi ship alone, or I'll show you what real destruction looks like." There was silence then. "Who are you?" "Your ship matches no known design." "Someone who doesn't like bullies," Olivia replied. "Now leave." The damaged Midorian ship looked at the small Pathfinder. Then it turned and limped away. Olivia flew to the Thraxi ship. It was badly damaged, but still working. Through the windows, she could see the aliens inside. They had 4 arms and golden skin that sparkled in the starlight. They looked at her ship with wide, purple eyes. "Thank you," said a soft voice through the communication system. "You saved us. May I ask who you are?" Olivia looked at Eric. He shrugged. The secret was already out. "I am Captain Olivia Martinez of Earth." Silence. Then, "Earth. But Earth is contained. The barrier." "Things change," Olivia said with a smile. "Can we help repair your ship?" The voice that answered sounded excited now. "I am Lyrith, ambassador for the Thraxi Collective. And Captain Martinez, I would very much like to speak with your people." Lyrith stood in the big meeting room on Earth, looking out at the blue ocean. Her golden skin reflected the sunlight. She had never thought she would stand on this forbidden planet. The Council had told everyone that humans were dangerous and unpredictable. But these humans had saved her life. "The galaxy has changed much since your exile," she said to the group of Earth leaders sitting at the table. "The Council is not as strong as it once was." Admiral George Winters leaned forward. He was the head of Earth's defense forces, an older man with gray hair and serious eyes. "Tell us what happened after we were locked away," he said. Lyrith moved her 4 hands in a pattern that showed sadness. For many years, the Council used Earth as an example. They said, "Look what happens to species that do not follow our rules." But without a common enemy to point at, old fights between Council members grew worse. She touched a small device on her wrist. A map of the galaxy appeared in the air above the table. Hundreds of stars lit up in different colors. "The blue stars show Council worlds," she explained. "The red ones show systems that have been taken by the hegemony." "What is the hegemony?" asked Samantha Reed, Earth's chief diplomat. A group of species that broke away from the Council 20 years ago, Lyrith said. They believe the strong should rule the weak. They take what they want and destroy anyone who fights back. The humans looked at the map. Nearly a third of the stars were red, mostly in the lower part of the galaxy. We call that area the Galactic South, Lyrith continued. It's far from the Council center. Many peaceful worlds are there, like my home. The Council says they will protect us, but they move too slowly. The hegemony takes 3 new systems for everyone the Council defends. Admiral Winters studied the map carefully. And the ship that attacked you, they were hegemony. Yes. Midorians, they are the hegemony soldiers, strong and cruel. Lyrith's purple eyes showed fear. If Captain Martinez had not saved us, my children and I would now be slaves. Or dead. The room was quiet for a long time. Then Admiral Winters looked at the other Earth leaders. We need to decide what to do now, he said. Do we stay hidden and just protect our own system? Or do we get involved? Some leaders wanted to stay hidden. Earth had been fine on its own for 200 years. Why risk making new enemies? Others wanted to help fight the hegemony. Humans had developed amazing technology. Maybe they could make a difference. I came here to ask for help, Lyrith said. My world is in the path of the hegemony's next attack. We are not warriors. We will fall just like the others. Admiral Winters stood up and walked to the window. He looked at the city outside, peaceful under the blue sky. Earth had been lucky. The barrier had been meant as a prison, but it had become a shield. While the galaxy fought, Earth had been safe. If we help the Thraxi, he said slowly, the Council will learn we've broken through the barrier. They might try to contain us again. Or they might welcome your help, Lyrith said. The Council is desperate, even if they don't admit it. Winters turned to face the room. We don't have to choose between hiding and revealing ourselves completely. There's a third option. What's that? Samantha Reed asked. We help, but we stay in the shadows. We fight the hegemony, but we don't tell anyone who we are. A small smile appeared on his face. Let's give the galaxy a mystery to solve. Lieutenant Commander Zoe Franklin, a young officer known for her brilliant battle strategies, nodded in agreement. We could become ghosts, strike the enemy, and disappear. No markings on our ships, no communication with anyone except trusted allies like Lyrith. Admiral Winters looked at Lyrith. Would your people keep our secret if we helped defend your world? Lyrith placed all 4 of her hands over her chest, a sign of deep promise. The Thraxi owe you a life debt. Your secret will be ours to keep as well. The decision was made. Earth would enter the galactic stage again, but wearing a mask. The Ghost Fleet was about to be born. 6 months later, a hegemony battle group moved toward the Thraxi home system. 10 large warships, each carrying hundreds of Midorian soldiers. They expected an easy victory. The Thraxi had no real weapons. Their planet would fall in days. What the hegemony didn't expect was the Ghost Fleet. Admiral Winters watched from the bridge of his ship, the Defender. It had no name painted on its black hull. No flags or symbols. Nothing to show it came from Earth. 5 more ships just like it waited nearby, hidden by special technology that bent light around them. The enemy will reach Thraxi space in 20 minutes, said Lieutenant Commander Zoe Franklin. She stood next to a large screen showing the positions of all ships. Winters nodded. Are your battle plans ready? Yes, sir. Zoe touched the screen, and lines appeared showing how their ships would move. They don't know we're here. We'll hit them from all sides at once. Good. Winters looked around at his crew, all volunteers, all the best Earth had to offer. Remember, no radio communication once the battle starts. Use the quantum links only. The quantum links were another Earth invention. They let ships talk to each other without sending radio signals that others could hear. Stations, everyone. Winters ordered. Let's show the hegemony what happens when they pick on peaceful worlds. The ships of the Ghost Fleet moved silently into position. The hegemony fleet came closer, their ships arranged in a tight formation. "They're overconfident," Zoe said with a small smile. "That will make this easier." When the hegemony ships were perfectly positioned, Winters gave the order. "Attack." 6 Earth ships appeared suddenly around the hegemony fleet. Their black hulls seemed to swallow the starlight. They fired blue energy beams that cut through shields as if they weren't there. On the lead hegemony ship, Commander Vrak of the Midorians was shouting at his crew. "What is happening? Where did they come from?" "Unknown ships, sir," a scared officer replied. "Their weapons. Our shields aren't stopping them." "Return fire," Vrak ordered. The hegemony ships fired back, but the Ghost Fleet was already moving. They seemed to disappear and reappear in different places. Some shots passed right through them, as if they weren't solid. On the Defender, Winters watched as Zoe directed the battle. She had planned everything perfectly. Each Earth ship knew exactly where to be and when. "Target their engines and weapons," she ordered through the quantum link. "Disable, don't destroy if possible." The battle lasted just 15 minutes. When it ended, all 10 hegemony ships were floating dead in space, their engines destroyed, their weapons silent. Not one Earth ship had been seriously damaged. Winters opened a communication channel to the hegemony flagship. "Commander Vrak, your ships are disabled. You will retreat from Thraxi space immediately. Small repair systems will activate in 1 hour, giving you enough power to limp home." Vrak's angry face appeared on the screen. "Who are you? What kind of ships are these? No known technology can do what you just did." Winters smiled but didn't answer the questions. "You have been defeated by the Ghost Fleet. Remember that name. Tell your leaders that the Galactic South is now protected. Any future attacks on peaceful worlds will meet the same response. The hegemony does not surrender." Vrak snarled. "We will find out who you are. We will destroy you." "You're welcome to try," Winters replied calmly. "But first, you need to get home in your broken ships. 1 hour, Commander. Then leave." The Ghost Fleet disappeared as quickly as it had arrived, leaving the damaged hegemony ships floating in space. News of the battle spread quickly across nearby systems. A mysterious fleet had defeated the mighty hegemony. No one knew who they were or where they came from. People began to call them ghosts, saviors, or angels. The hegemony leaders were furious. They sent more ships to find this Ghost Fleet. But Earth was always one step ahead. They seemed to know the hegemony's plans before they happened. As Zoe had said during the first battle, 200 years of isolation taught humans to be very, very good at keeping secrets. 6 months of Ghost Fleet victories had the Galactic Council worried. They held emergency meetings on their central planet. No one knew who controlled these mysterious ships that appeared from nowhere, fought with impossible technology, and vanished again. Council Security Director Alan Douglas watched the recordings of Ghost Fleet battles for the 100th time. He was one of the few humans who had stayed with the Council after Earth's exile. His grandparents had been off-planet when the barrier went up. He had grown up hearing stories about Earth, but had never seen it. "There's something familiar about their tactics," he told his assistant. "Something that reminds me of old Earth military history." The assistant, a blue-skinned Veldarian, looked confused. "But that's impossible. Earth has been contained for 2 centuries. Alan wasn't so sure. He had always wondered if humans might find a way through the barrier someday. It would be just like them. After watching more battle recordings, Alan made a decision. He sent a message to Earth, aimed at the barrier. He didn't know if anyone would receive it, but he had to try. 3 days later, he got a response. Just 3 words. "Meet us. Neutral ground." Alan arranged a meeting on Station 17, a trading post far from both Council space and the Galactic South. He told Council High Chancellor Vorex he was following a lead about the Ghost Fleet. He didn't mention his suspicions about Earth. When Alan arrived at Station 17, a woman was waiting for him in a private room. She wore simple clothes with no markings, no name, no rank. "I'm Alan Douglas, Council Security Director," he said. The woman nodded. I know who you are. I'm Rebecca Sloan, commander of the Earth ship Vigilant. Alan's heart beat faster. He had been right. So it is Earth behind the Ghost Fleet. Yes, we broke through the barrier 2 years ago. We've been watching the galaxy ever since. And fighting the hegemony. Rebecca smiled slightly. Someone needed to stop them. The Council certainly wasn't doing it. Alan sat down across from her. Why reveal yourselves to me now? You could have stayed hidden. Because the hegemony is growing desperate. They're planning something big. And we think it's time for Earth to stop hiding. She showed him images of massive hegemony ships gathering. Bigger than anything seen before. Weapons that could destroy whole planets. They're tired of losing to ghosts, Rebecca explained. So they've decided to eliminate entire worlds that might be helping us, starting with the Council's leadership. Alan went pale. You're saying they plan to attack the Council directly? Yes, in less than a month. We could fight them alone, but many would die. If we worked together openly, we could save more lives. Alan thought carefully. The Council had feared and hated humans for centuries, but now they needed them. Chancellor Vorex would never agree to work with Earth, he said finally. The old fear runs too deep. Then we have to change his mind, Rebecca replied. Arrange a meeting. Let Earth speak directly to the Council leadership. Alan agreed. It took him a week to convince Vorex to meet with representatives of the Ghost Fleet on a neutral space station. He didn't tell Vorex that these representatives were human. The day of the meeting came. Chancellor Vorex arrived with 10 Council leaders. They sat in the large meeting room, waiting nervously. When Alan walked in with Rebecca and 3 other humans, the Council members gasped. What is this? Vorex demanded, standing up. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly in shock. Humans? Impossible. Not impossible, Chancellor, said Rebecca calmly. Just unlikely. This is a trick, another Council member shouted. Humans cannot leave their system. Rebecca activated a device on her wrist. A hologram appeared showing Earth ships moving through folds in space, bypassing the barrier completely. We've been out here for 2 years, she said, fighting a war you couldn't win. And now we're offering to help you directly, before the hegemony attacks your worlds. Chancellor Vorex was about to reply when alarms started blaring throughout the station. A voice came over the speakers. Alert. Hegemony warships approaching. This is not a drill. Rebecca looked at her team. They followed us. The attack is happening now. Vorex looked terrified. We have no defenses here. Rebecca touched her communicator. Sloan to Vigilant. Emergency Protocol 7. Bring the Ghost Fleet in now. She turned to the Council members. Stay here. We'll protect you. As she and her team ran from the room, Vorex called after her. Why would you help us after what we did to Earth? Rebecca paused at the door. Because that's what humans do. We help people in trouble, even those who wronged us. That was your first mistake about us. You thought we were dangerous because we're different. You never understood that our differences are what make us strong. Then she was gone, racing to defend the very people who had once imprisoned her world. The space station shook as hegemony weapons hit its shields. Chancellor Vorex and the other Council members huddled in the meeting room, afraid. They had no ships to protect them, no way to escape. Outside the station, 3 large hegemony battleships fired again and again. Their leader, Grand Admiral Drax, smiled coldly. He would destroy the Council leadership today. The hegemony would rule the galaxy tomorrow. Sir, said one of his officers, we're picking up strange energy readings. Something is happening nearby. Drax frowned. What kind of readings? Before the officer could answer, space seemed to tear open. 6 black ships appeared around the station. The Ghost Fleet had arrived. Commander Rebecca Sloan sat in the captain's chair of the Vigilant. Defensive positions. Protect the station at all costs. Her ships moved with perfect coordination. 2 formed a shield between the station and the hegemony ships. The others spread out, preparing to attack. They're outnumbered 2-1. Alan Douglas said, watching from the station's control room. Can they win? The station commander, an older alien with gray skin, shook his head. I've never seen anyone defeat hegemony battleships. They're too powerful. Alan smiled slightly. You've never seen Earth ships fight. The battle began. The Ghost Fleet moved like dancers, always one step ahead of the enemy. Their black hulls absorbed weapon fire. Their own weapons cut through hegemony shields like they were made of paper. Inside the station, Chancellor Vorex watched through a window. His 4 eyes were wide with amazement. These humans, they fight like nothing I've ever seen. One hegemony ship exploded, then another. The third tried to escape, but the Ghost Fleet surrounded it. Its engines died, and it drifted helplessly. Rebecca opened a communication channel to the hegemony ship. This is Commander Sloan of Earth. Surrender now. On the hegemony ship, Grand Admiral Drax was shocked. Earth? Impossible. Earth is contained. Not anymore, Rebecca replied. Surrender or be destroyed. Drax had no choice. His ship was dead in space. He surrendered. When the battle ended, Rebecca and her officers went to the meeting room where the council leaders waited. This time, they wore their Earth uniforms proudly. No more hiding. Chancellor Vorex stepped forward. For a long moment, he just looked at them. Then he spoke. 200 years ago, the council made a decision about humanity. We thought you were too dangerous, too unpredictable to join galactic society. He paused. Today, you saved our lives with the very qualities we feared. Perhaps we were wrong. Rebecca nodded. We are different. We think differently. We fight differently. But that doesn't make us dangerous to our friends. Only to our enemies. What do you want from us now? Asked another council member. Revenge for the exile. No, Rebecca said. We want partnership. Remove the barrier, apologize for the exile, and recognize Earth's territory. In return, we'll help you defeat the hegemony completely. The council members looked at each other. They had seen what Earth ships could do. They knew they needed that power to win the war. I will put it to a vote, Vorex said. But I believe the council will agree to your terms. 1 month later, Earth President Daniel Hughes stood in the Great Hall of the Council. Thousands watched in person. Billions more watched on screens across the galaxy. Beside him stood Chancellor Vorex, holding an ancient document. Today, we correct a mistake made long ago, Vorex said. On behalf of the Galactic Council, I formally apologize to the people of Earth for their unjust exile. He handed the document to President Hughes. It was the Alliance Accord, signed by every council world. Earth was free. The barrier would be turned off forever. The humans have returned to the stars, Vorex announced. Not as enemies, but as our strongest allies. Together, we will face the hegemony and bring peace to the galaxy. The hall erupted in cheers. After 2 centuries, the exile was officially over. That same day, ships from the Ghost Fleet escorted council scientists to the edge of the solar system. There, they deactivated the barrier forever. The prison was opened. Earth was free at last. 1 year after the Alliance Accord was signed, the war against the hegemony reached its final stage. The combined Earth Council fleet gathered near the edge of Council space. Over 1,000 ships from 33 different species floated in perfect formation. At the center were 50 Earth vessels, their black hulls standing out among the colorful Council ships. Admiral George Winters stood on the bridge of the Defender, now the flagship of the Allied forces. The ship no longer hid its name or its Earth origins. It flew Earth's flag proudly. Next to Winters stood Chancellor Vorex and representatives from many council worlds. They had come to witness the final battle, the end of the hegemony. The enemy has gathered their remaining forces at Proxus, Winters explained, pointing to a star on the big map. Their last stronghold. If we take it, the war is over. They have 300 ships, Vorex said, his 4 eyes blinking nervously, and their planet has strong defenses. Many will die in this attack. Winters nodded. Yes, but we have something they don't. What is that? 200 years of human innovation. Winters smiled slightly. And the element of surprise. Before the final jump to battle, Winters asked to speak to all ships in the fleet. His face appeared on screens throughout the 1,000 vessels. Aliens of all kinds stopped to listen. Today we end this war, he began. Some of you still wonder why Earth fights so hard for people who once rejected us. The answer is simple. When the Council exiled Earth, they thought they were punishing us. They thought they were keeping the galaxy safe from humans. He paused, looking at the camera, but the exile changed us in ways no one expected. Without help from the Council, we had to solve our own problems. We had to think differently. We had to become stronger, smarter, more determined. Across the fleet, everyone was silent, listening. The barrier wasn't our prison, Winters continued. It was our protection. It gave us time to grow, time to develop technologies no one else has, time to become the very force that could save the galaxy when it needed saving most. He stood straighter, his voice stronger. So today, I want to thank the Council for exiling us. Without that mistake, we wouldn't be the people we are now. We wouldn't be here to help you win this war. Even Vorex looked surprised at these words. He had expected anger from humans, not gratitude. Now, Winters said, let's show the hegemony what happens when you face the combined strength of the Council and Earth. All ships, prepare to jump. The massive fleet disappeared in flashes of light, jumping through space to the hegemony stronghold. When they arrived, the hegemony was waiting. 300 warships formed a wall around the planet Proxus. Ground weapons fired up from the surface. It looked impossible to break through. But Earth ships led the way. They moved in ways that defied normal physics, using the full technology that had helped them escape the barrier. They seemed to disappear and reappear behind enemy lines, firing weapons that no shield could stop. Council ships followed, protected by Earth's advanced shields. Together, they cut through the hegemony defenses like they weren't even there. From his command ship, the hegemony leader watched in horror as his forces fell. What are these Earth ships? He demanded. How do they do this? No one had an answer. No one had ever seen technology like this before. The battle lasted just 3 hours. When it ended, the hegemony surrendered completely. Their leaders were taken prisoner. Their empire was broken forever. As Admiral Winters stood on the surface of Proxus, accepting the official surrender, he thought about how strange life could be. 200 years ago, humans had been considered too dangerous to join the galactic community. Now, they were its saviors. Chancellor Vorex approached him after the ceremony. The Council fears we may have created a new problem, he said quietly. Earth is now the strongest force in the galaxy. Many worry what you will do with that power. Winters smiled. We'll do what humans have always wanted to do. Explore, learn, help where we can. And yes, fight when we must. And the Council, do you seek revenge for the exile? No, Winters said, looking up at the stars. As I said before, the exile was the best thing that ever happened to us. It was your mistake, but it made us who we are today. He held out his hand in the human way of friendship. After a moment, Vorex took it. Perhaps, the Chancellor said, it was not such a big mistake after all.